My name is Sonia Maxwell. I'm a parent of Jemiah Maxwell. She's a student at St. Paul's Middle School. She's been bullied on ever since the beginning of school. I've been out to the school 6 times already. Her father been out to the school. I've even talked to my pastor of my church. Him and the deacon went out to the school and still no results. Went to the school board, still no results. They wouldn't call me back. I left messages. I've been out there. Then on November the 3rd, my daughter ended up getting in a fight with this same girl that has been bullying her. Then they're going to tell me that they're going to get my baby 3 days home. And yes, I'm upset with the principal, the board, and anybody else that's involved. Because all of this could have been avoided. My baby got a record for fighting, got days home, and it just don't make sense. And the principal is so nonchalant, like she really don't care. I put 3 articles, 2 in the St. Paul Review and 1 in the RobesonCounty Review, to let them know that Miss Isabel Jones has an I don't care attitude towards her students and the staff too. And I also put in the paper that they do not care about the students' learning or their safety. But with my child, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. As Barack Obama says, the change begins with you. And anything that you think is worth fighting for, you need to do it. And your children are very much worth fighting for.
Amen. Amen.
Ms. Maxwell, the school board is what county?
Robeson County.
Robeson County School Board. Thank you.
I sit over there. Okay, you can record that. Ms. Maxwell, can you tell me the first day, what month was it, what year was it?
September 2011 was when my daughter was first bullied on by another student. I went out to the school and I talked to her teacher about it, and they just act like it's nothing. Oh, it's nothing. They was just playing. They was smiling back at each other the next day. But when my daughter come home hurt, that hurts me. When she's crying and upset, Mama, this happened or that happened, and I told this person or that person. And I'm supposed to be her protector. When I go out there to ask questions, then you need to talk to me and investigate and see what's going on. The school board did not talk back to me until I put my articles in the paper. Then the next morning they called me wanting to know what did I want them to do. I want them to do their job, investigate, and find out what's going on. My daughter had food thrown at her. She's been tripped in her classroom. Just all kind of stuff. And all these things coming up on TV that kids are committing suicide because they're being bullied on. I don't want that for my child or anyone else.
I'm sorry. Let me ask you another question, because I know how hard it is. I've been where you are. And it's good people need to see the pain, because it's a quiet pain, because sometimes you can't express it in front of everybody because you got to put on the war face,
Right.
and keep warring away.
I try my best.
Yes, but who did she tell? Who were the people she told?
I've already talked to counselors. I've talked to her teachers. I've talked to the assistant principal. Isabel Jones.
Who is she?
She's the principal of the St. Paul Middle School. And I've talked to her guidance counselor. I don't remember her name. I've talked to her teachers, Miss Thompson. I've talked to
How long did it take for the school, and how did you contact the school board? You called them, or how did you contact the school board?
me and my daughter went to the school board. He claimed, the man that I needed to talk to claimed that he had got sick whenever they gave him my message, so he was out of work for a while. But when he came back, he still didn't notify me until the article was put in the newspaper.
How long a span was that?
I know it was 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it took about 2 or 3 weeks before from the time you first came in, 3 weeks before you had to call him back.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you hadn't called him back, he probably
wouldn't have called me either. Because they like try to push it under the rug. When I talked to the counselor about the little girl throwing food at my child, she was like, Miss Maxwell, we done handled that. Jemiah's calm about it. Why are you upset? Because little stuff like that lead up to big stuff. You nip it in the bud from the beginning.
Right.
Just like I try to get them to do about the bullying.
Right, I'm doing your sequence of events. So after you got through calling him that day, what happened? What did he say when you called him that day? What was his name?
No,
What was his title?
it was Lowry, something Lowry.
Tommy
Tommy Lowry.
Uh-huh.
He was the, associate superintendent.
Uh-huh.
I called him and he never returned a phone call. Then I drove down here and went to his office and I talked to him. He talked to me and my daughter that day. He said he was going to investigate and get back with me. He never did until like 2 or 3 weeks later when something else occurred.
Now we're looking at 2-3 weeks to get in contact with him. You got in contact with him. Another 2-3 weeks go by, and you still haven't heard from him. And then
exactly.
At that time, what? Now, in between those 2-3 weeks, when you first tried to contact him and get in contact with him, what was happening with your daughter in school?
She was still being bullied on and picked on at school by students, and nothing was being done. They go to the office. Miss Isabel Jones would talk with them and give them a day in ISS or something like that. But you steady getting them days in ISS, and you see the problem is just escalating, and that means that you're not doing your job.
So now after you got through talking to him, and that other 2 week span of time, what happened? Anything happened with the school system, with your daughter at school? Any persons you were able to get in contact with? Any persons you were trying to call in that 2-3 span? Like after you went in and talked to him, what happened for those next 2-3 weeks?
Nothing.
Nothing was done.
Nothing.
And now after that next 2-3 weeks, you reached up to that was you reaching to the school board, right?
Right.
Okay. What happened from there?
Then I talked to my pastor about it, and he went out to the school, and he talked to Miss Isabel, and he asked, was there anything that he could do for my child or the other student that was bullying her, or for her? And she told him no. After the meeting, he called me. He said, Sonia, he said, do you think they're doing anything to help you? I said, no, sir. He said, then we got to take it to the next level. And he was supposed to be talking to someone else about the situation. But then my daughter ended up getting in a fight. And that's what just really topped it off, because all of that could have been avoided. I asked you to move my child from this student, and you refused to do it.
Did they ever offer you the ability to take your child out of the school? Did they ever tell you that's
No.
a possibility to
No.
transfer to a school that you would like to transfer to?
No, they didn't.
They never offered you that?
No.
Okay. And so from that, your child was suspended.
Yes.
And anything else happened?
When I went to take her back after the suspension, which they said that Miss Isabel Jones took papers out on me because the day that she got suspended, I told her, I said, now you allow my daughter to get in a fight. Now I ought to fight you, because all of this could have been avoided. She claimed she was so threatened and so scared of me. But the 6 times I came out there, I did not say anything to you. But that time when you let my baby get hurt, yes, I said something to you. And you were not that frightened that you had to take papers out on me. I still got to go to court for this. I can lose my job.
So what is she saying?
She says I communicated a threat. So she sued me. Right. But you didn't think it was a threat. People bothering my baby. Right. She's only 12 years old. Right. I'm her defender. Right. She can't defend herself.
That's right.
Only to a certain point, because she's a child and she has to respect adults. Right. So that's where I come in at.
Where was she at when you played? She played me.
I was at the school in her office.
Who was in there?
My daughter, the office was full because the fight had just happened. All kind of students, everybody. I don't know who all was in there.
So where is it now?
We're still going to court. I have to go to court on March 22nd. I do have a lawyer, which he says that a lot of stuff was done wrong, and because the paperwork was sent to me in the mail, he said that was wrong from the beginning, because it should have been hand delivered by an officer. The officer that took the statement was not even in the office anywhere, because she was on the radio talking about she gonna call Officer McNeil to arrest me from the school. But he the one wrote up the paperwork, and he wasn't even in there. He don't even really know what happened besides what she said or somebody else said.
Okay.
And when I took her back to school, I didn't know about the paper hadn't been delivered yet about me not being able to come back on the school, that she had sued me. So I was trying to find out, was she going to move my baby out of this class before she sent her back from this suspension? She go hides up in the bathroom and call the officer back up to the office. He said, Miss Maxwell, can you call me down to my office? I said, yes, sir. We went down to his office. He said, don't you know Miss Isabel took papers out on you? I said, no. I said, I haven't received no papers. He said, well, you can't come back on campus until after y'all go to court. I said, well, give me my baby out of the office. And he said, you can't go back in the office. I said, well, I'm not leaving the school till you get my child. If I can't be here, she can't be here. And we went back down to the board. I got her out because another teacher went in and got her. He acted like he was going to put his hands on me, and I told him, you better not touch me. Give me my child. And then we came back down to the board, and he still didn't want to hear that. Oh, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to get statements from teachers. Ain't got nothing.
How old is your child?
She's 12.
She's 12. Does she have some kind does she have some kind of IEP plan with her, IEP? Okay, so she don't have one. Okay.
But you can talk about how you reached out to get assistance outside of how you reached out to the community, you know, like how you contacted.
Yeah, did your pastor Ted use his thing?
No. Pastor Tommy D. King at Swans Creek Missionary Baptist Church in Hope Mills, 2404 Swans Creek Church Road in Hope Mills, is the pastor that went out and talked to the principal and got no results. I put articles in the paper and said that if any parents were going through some of the same stuff that I was going through, that they could call the newspaper and let the newspaper get involved with me, and we could see if we could go to another level on this, because I know that I was not the only one that child was going through some stuff. And so I felt like I was just at a dead end road, so I ended up calling the NAACP to find out if it was anything else I could do, because the school said that they have done all that they can do.
Let me ask you another question. When they did the investigation, did they tell you what the conclusion was to the investigation?
No, Mr. Lowry just said that he had nobody to verify what I was saying. But several teachers told me.
Did he talk to your daughter?
No, my daughter told me that he came to the school and she saw him talking to people, but he did not talk to her.
So he did an investigation about your daughter getting bullied. But
He only went out there to shut people's mouths, not to speak up for me.
So what I'm saying, well, this is what's so he so-called did an investigation,
Right.
but he didn't sit down with you and your daughter.
Exactly.
So what was the investigation? Do you know if he sat down and talked with the other child or the other child's parents?
No, he only talked to Miss Isabel. He proclaims he talked to the teachers. But several of them have already told me that my child was not the problem before the fight even occurred and even after. But now they're scared to come forth because he's done been to the school.
Okay, so there was an insufficient investigation.
Exactly.
And you weren't satisfied with the investigation.
Exactly.
Have you asked for a new investigation yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. Have they said anything to you when you said you want a new investigation? Has anything occurred? Has anyone started to call you, talk to you, your daughter, anything like that?
Not yet.
Okay. So you've been banned from the school?
Right.
Okay. You've received your paperwork.
Right.
Okay. And they're saying you communicated a threat.
Right.
Because you said, well, since somebody fought my daughter, I should fight you.
Right.
And so, but how were you meaning to tell her I'm going to fight you, or you were trying to give her a
I'm just trying to let her feel how my 12-year-old daughter was feeling.
No, I understand. But the fact of the matter is that nobody was doing their job. Nobody
Exactly.
was doing an investigation. Nobody was stepping in. Nobody was offering you or your daughter a safe way of being in the school. They should have done something to make a
Yes,
plan
ma'am.
of some kind. Okay, well, I understand.
What, you said that you have, what's the name of the newspaper there?
The St. Paul Review and also the Robesonian.
And they're willing to pay off other stores similar to yours?
With limitations.
With the limitations.
Definitely.
But I'd probably still have the articles where they was printed in the papers.
Thank you. I'd just like to add that she has officially, you want to add that you,
Well, Ms. Maxwell has officially filed a written complaint because school policy states that your complaint should be in writing. And prior to our getting involved, she had only gone and voiced her complaint. So what we did was we filed a written complaint. She has not heard anything back on that either. I just wanted to add that. So she is following school board policy and procedure, but they failed to follow their own policy and procedure. And
Ms. Maxwell plan to file a complaint with the Department of Education, OCR?
yes,
Okay.
you have already done that, haven't you? Yes.
Okay.